watch the commercials on Saturday morning of the Feed the Children, and they always have these cute little kids with these big brown eyes and the distended tummies, and they're just starving. And it pulls at our heartstrings. But what many of us don't realize is there's actually starving children in our own country here in the United States. My name is Sandy Anderson, and I want to introduce you to a term that I just recently learned about. It's called food insecurity. Now, what is food insecurity? Well, according to the Federal Interagency Forum for Children and Family, food insecurity means at some point during a year, a household has limited access to adequate nutrition and food for their family. This is due to money and other resources. And even though our federal government and state governments have programs geared to meeting the need of those below the poverty level, there are many statistics show that there are many others that are struggling to put food on the table, and the need's not being met. And so, why isn't it being met? Well, unfortunately, some people are just too proud or scared to ask for assistance, and they may not know that assistance is available to them. Some think, well, it's just a temporary setback. And because it's a temporary setback, they don't qualify for assistance from the government. They also may not meet the requirements that the federal government has for them to be eligible for ongoing assistance. These are the people that I think need help the most. And by helping these individuals, not only are we helping to meet their physical need, but we are demonstrating God's value of compassion for others and standing up for those who are less fortunate. So, how does food insecurity affect the United States? Well, according to the USDA, 1 in 4 families in the United States takes part in one of the USDA's federal assisted food programs. And the Food and Nutrition Service reports that 53% of the infants born in the United States are enrolled in the WIC program. So if there's government agencies out there giving food to the poor, why should we do anything? Well, according to Feed America, which is one of the nation's largest suppliers of food banks in our country, they state households with an income above the federal poverty level have fewer resources available to them to help at their time of need. And although the largest number of the largest number of food insecure households are also poor, it is important to note that there are still households that are food insecure that are not that do not fall under the federal definition of poverty. During this recession that we have been experiencing for the last few years, there are many families that are now faced with a food shortage. They are in need, and at this point in time, a lot of them are too scared to ask for help, or they may be too prideful, or they may not know that there is even help out there available to them. So what does the Bible tell us that we should do? It says in Proverbs 22, a generous man will himself be blessed, for he shares his food with the poor. In Luke 14:13 through 14, it says, but when you have a banquet, invite the poor, the crippled, the lame, the blind, for you will be blessed. They will not be able to repay you, but you will be repaid at the resurrection of the righteous. And finally, in Acts 10:4, it states that Cornelius said to the Lord, "What is it, Lord?" And an angel said to him, "Your prayers and gifts to the poor have come up like a memorial offering to our God." In our country, there are many people who are in need, and the church body has an opportunity to meet that need. And not only meet the physical need of hunger, but also meet the spiritual need by administering God's love to them, by offering up a sacrifice to our Lord in an act of worship. So what can we do? Well, there's many things that that we can do. We can donate food or money to a food bank. We can donate our time to a soup kitchen. If you know someone who is struggling, encourage them to seek help or step up and help them yourselves. And finally, you can also encourage other people to get involved, whether it's a food drive or just bringing canned foods to the local shelters. About 4 years ago at Christmas time, my husband had lost his job. We had no idea how we were going to provide Christmas for our family, let alone put food on the table. Because this was the first time we had ever felt this type of need, we were a little too prideful to admit it to our family and friends and even our church body. But a good friend of ours who knew the struggle that we were going to showed up with a box full of food. God knew the need that needed to be met, and He met it. So, as Christian family, we have the opportunity to not only meet a need of a meal for our family, but we can leave a lasting impact for eternity.